You recently went down, I think, did you go down to their studio? Respawn studio in Chatsworth?
Down at Respawn. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, and you got to pretty much see, you saw some single player, which we can't talk about, I don't think.
Correct, yeah. I actually got to play a pretty substantial portion of the complete campaign, but yeah, that is still embargoed until a little later this week. So check back on, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the embargo, but later this week, we'll say maybe around Thursday.
Just keep refreshing the GameSpot homepage
never
over
stop.
and over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Just have your phone at all times, just walk and refresh. And
So Rob and I have gotten to play a lot of it too. We did a preview series on it, kind of like a 2-part series on how this is kind of like they're trying to correct mistakes they made with the first Titanfall, but also like how this is becoming almost like a hero shooter in my view of how like the Titans are designed and how it becomes like you can see a Titan signature moves and you can see like how to counteract them and they can see yours, and it's kind of like a chess match almost at that point. But you got to see all 6 Titans finally.
Yeah, and actually got to play all 6 as well. So it wasn't just like, here's a trailer, because they put trailers up a couple weeks ago to kind of vaguely introduce what each of the new Titans does. But yeah, so the multiplayer, you have a choice of any of the 6 Titans. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it like a hero shooter, more maybe like a class-based shooter, because each of the Titans does seem to kind of represent a different class in a way. At least if you go judge them according to like their primary weapons. Like, for example, Ronan has a shotgun and a sword. Like, those are his primary weapons. So he's clearly like the up-close damage dealer. He's that kind of tank type, right?
Like a phase shift too, right? That can go behind
phase
people.
shift is really cool. So pilots have a cloak ability, but this is not that. This is a different thing. Basically, like, you just blink out of existence entirely. Like, you don't even have a shadow that people can track. Like, you're just simply not there. So you can't be damaged. You can't be seen. It only lasts a few seconds, though, and when you're in that state, you actually can't see your opponents. You just see like a black and white kind of version of the world and can maneuver. So it's useful for a couple of reasons. Like, my favorite was to just charge straight at people, and as soon as they kind of like got me in their sight, I would blink out of existence and continue to rush at them in like the parallel dimension. And then when I snapped back into reality, I was suddenly like right in their face
with a sword and shotgun.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was really fun and really awesome. But then in contrast to someone like North Star, who I think Rob's a big fan of, and that character's base weapon is essentially a sniper rifle. It's like the exact opposite, where you want to play the spacing game, you want to hang back. And not only is it's a railgun, so it charges up over time. So you really can't be in people's face with that character. You have to hang back. You have to bide your time. So yeah, in my mind, it is kind of class-based. You have a tank, you have a sniper, you have the shotgun, running gunner, like all these different types and play styles. So whatever you're into, there's probably a Titan that'll loosely fit what you want to get out of the game.
Yeah. And then like North Star, just to backtrack quickly, is that the one that has a kind of Pharah, justice from above, rains from above?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, as you mentioned, so each of the Titans has sort of an ultra ability, and like over the course of a round, as you like accumulate damage and do other things to contribute to your team, you eventually unlock their ultra. And yeah, so in North Star's case, it's essentially like a Pharah death from above, like VTOL hover plus like homing missile barrage. It's pretty awe-inspiring.
Is it referred to as an ultra?
I don't honestly, like, I'm trying to remember. So each Titan has a core ability.
Okay.
They're described as like he's the sword core.
Yeah. Let's stop latching onto new terms. This is a class-based thing, like you said, which I'm happy about. This is not hero shooter.
100%
no, this is a class-based shooter.
You build up experience throughout
ults.
The match.
These are.
It's an ult.
Oh my God.
Okay. If you could
frame of
open up,
reference only goes back to
open up a
Overwatch.
cannon out of your chest and shoot a laser out of it, what would you, that's not ultimate.
I would call it
a core
something
ability.
Else. That's a core ability.
All right. Anyway,
fuck, let's call it a limit break.
I mean,
for all I care.
that
stop
term
calling
was
things
around
anything.
before Overwatch.
No,
I mean,
but it's
this goes back to like early Street Fighter and like
it's a Dota term.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
So when MOBAs were invented, then we didn't know.
But
whatever you'd like to call them, I believe they're called core abilities.
There you
That's
go.
just not as. So nobody knows what that means outside of this context, though. Like if we sit and explain, so a core
call it
ability.
a super. Call it a super.
Okay.
Just sounds like they have really nice
so
abs.
each Titan has a super. Yeah, they all sit on those stupid balls all day, and it really works their midsection, and they're all really taut abs. Look for the hot calendar coming out next year.
Cool.
It's gonna be real sexy.
Do you have like a favorite Titan? Because you said there was one that's kind of like, just to piss Pete off, I'm going to use another Overwatch. You did say there's like a Soldier 76 and like Call of Duty, like kind of everyman character Titan that like anybody that's played a shooter will get.
Yeah. So one of the Titans, I'm trying to remember if it's Legion or Tone. I believe it's Legion, has a sort of minigun and a really good all around mix of like health, damage, and speed. So that particular character is just sort of well balanced, equally. It's just. doesn't serve as deep a niche purpose as somebody like North Star, who really has to hang back, or someone like Ronan, who really has to be up close to be effective. The minigun is like has an up close switch, or like you can change its firing mode. Sorry to backtrack. You can change its firing mode. So you can fire either like a steady stream of bullets or a wider spray. So he's useful from a variety of different ranges. He, again, has strong movement and health. So you can kind of play him as more of a standard mid-range shooter character.
Okay.
It'll be a good, I think, intro for people because everybody immediately understands how a minigun works, right? Like it charges up, you fire a bunch of bullets, things in front of you die. Even that character's super is like an amped version. It's really nothing too different. Like you just fire slightly more powerful bullets. So it's not like, oh, you take off and are raining bullets, or oh, you phase shift out of existence. It's, oh, your bullets are just more powerful. So again, really easy to understand, really like low barrier to entry for that particular character, but still totally fun to play. Because again, who doesn't love a minigun and just like completely shredding everything in the environment?
Yeah. Did you have a favorite Titan?
I really liked Ronan.
Okay.
I just found it really satisfying to get in people's faces. Ronan unfortunately has very limited health though, so I would generally like get up close, take down one Titan, and then be it basically at the point of death. But you can still equip nuclear eject, which people may remember from the previous game. So
It's pronounced nuclear.
Nuclear eject. I'm pretty sure it's the foliage at the library. Where was I going with this?
Clearly, I don't have.
This has been a really like
here.
derailment heavy episode today. What the hell was I talking about?
Does the
Ronan.
overall flow
Oh yeah, you can
feel
blow
good?
up. You blow up and take people down with you. It's awesome. So it doesn't matter you have very little health, because as soon as you die, you explode and everything around you incinerated.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome.
Okay, cool. So how does it feel overall? Do these feel balanced? Does the flow of the multiplayer still feel intact with 6 people instead of just the 2 we've seen so far?
Yeah, well, actually, so to me, it feels way more complete and way more interesting than the beta did. The beta obviously was missing a lot of content. I mean, you only had two of the 6 Titans, but also there were a bunch of missing maps and a bunch of missing pilot abilities. So I wanted to talk about that as well, because the game is more than just Titans, obviously.
Sure.
And I know a lot of people that I've spoken to about the beta came away thinking like, oh man, why would you ever play with anything but the grappling hook? The grappling hook kind of changes the game completely for pilots. It's, you know, suddenly wall running or free running is no longer as essential as it was. But on some of the new maps, I found that the grappling hook wasn't even that useful in a way. Like there's a really dense new map called Eden, where I found that it was dense enough, there were enough objects to sort of wall jump off of, that I was able to make my way through the city and keep my momentum up without ever relying on the grappling hook, which meant that I could use that skill slot on something else. And there are other abilities that are actually like appealing and useful, some more than others.
I was sticking to that like sonar pulse knife. I
Dude,
actually really
I
like
love
that.
the-
Maybe
yes.
that just comes from like my background and just shooters in general. Like knowing where people are is obviously a huge deal.
Yeah.
And I think I was just more comfortable with that, and like I could rely on the really fine-tuned wall traversal and like wall runs and like vaults, and I didn't have to worry about the grappling hook.
Yep.
Whereas the knife I could just throw, stand still, see if anybody's above me, below me, around me, or just on the run, just see if anybody's about to ambush me. I don't know. I didn't think the grappling hook was as huge of a deal as a lot of people did. It's cool, it's fun, and I think it feels great, but I wasn't like one of those people that was, you know, kind of, you know, like you said, being attached to it.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of with you. Attached to it, grapple. That's good. Yeah, there are certain maps where it makes a lot of sense. Peter is shaking his head. I don't know if he was on camera right there, but that's the correct reaction, Peter. Yeah, there are certain maps where it makes a lot of sense because the maps now, I would argue, have more verticality than the maps did in the first game. So if you are down like deep in a trench and you're trying to get to the top of a building and there's like a large scalable section, you may not be able to wall jump your way up that, but the grappling hook can save you a bunch of time. And boom, hey, you can suddenly traverse a section of the level that other pilots can't.
Yeah.
Very useful, but not every map has that. So that, like I said, there are plenty of situations where the grappling hook is going to be less useful than other skills.
Sure.
So I think once people get a chance to play all of the content together and see how it all fits together, and see how all the different tactics complement one another, they'll realize that it's a bit more of a complete product than the beta was. And I don't know that I'm not guaranteeing that everybody who hated the beta is actually going to love the full game. People might still hate it, but I personally enjoyed what I was able to play last week much more than I enjoyed the beta, in large part because there's so much more going on and there's so much more strategy. And if you see the other team is using certain types of Titans, you can pick a Titan to give yourself an advantage over that type because you can switch between deaths, and just that ability to switch on the fly and adjust your tactics and change all this stuff and having all these options really makes the game kind of more rich. But all this essential stuff is there. There's still mech battles. There's still wall running and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's still Titanfall to me, even if certain things have changed. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed my time.
Cool. So you got your full like preview stuff up on GameSpot. Your single player stuff is coming later this week, and we'll be able to talk more about how the Titans work there and how the story's unfolding and whatnot.
Full profile on all the Titans went up last week. People should definitely go check that out. Rob Handler did an amazing job editing together a video conversation that we had. And single player stuff going up later this week.
Rob's in the room. That's why I insulted him. But cool.
Hey, there he is. That guy.
So that is Titanfall 2. Like Scott said, he's got his content up on the site right now. We have single player stuff coming later this week, and that releases October 28th for PS4 or Xbox One, and we can see how it, like the beta was indicative of the game then.
And PC.
And PC. Sorry, forgot that one.